Is it worth upgrading the rear sway bar on the C7 RS6, and what are the benefits? Well, let me just answer this subtly. Fuck yes. Put on the rear sway bar. So the benefits are you'll have less body roll. So that means when you go into a turn, the car does less of this leaning over as the centrifugal force builds. And then the other benefit is that it keeps more of the weight in the rear of the car, which means the car pushes less. So when you go into a corner, and if you can get to the limit of traction, what a stock car will do is you'll turn the steering wheel and it'll go like this. So instead of going like this, you go that way. With the rear sway bar, the car is going to do less of that in turn. Now, it's not going to turn your car into an F1 car, but we've had actually customers think that it would, and it didn't. But what it's going to mean is you're gonna be able to get the car moving in the direction you want it better, because instead of the front of the car going like this, the rear of the car can turn with the front.
Yeah, it usually gives you a lot more option to change the attitude of the car with your accelerator.
Yeah. So there's a thing called trail braking or trailing throttle, and if you can kind of get into the corner and start playing with the brakes or the throttle, you can engage that rear sway bar and get the rear of the car to turn for you. If you don't drive at the limit or like that, that's fine. You're still going to notice the benefit of reduced body. There's really there's no negatives really. I mean, if I want to nitpick, the rear sway bar connects the left and right suspensions together. The stiffer it is, the less independent those suspensions become. So if you kind of took it to its logical extreme, if you just put a straight bar that was infinitely stiff, you would connect both suspensions together and it would turn into a solid axle that would do this. The suspensions would stop doing this and they would do this, just like an old Ford 9-inch rear end, like an old car with like the leaf springs. Our sway bar is stiffer than stock, but it's not infinitely stiff, so it still twists and bends. Your rear suspension can still move independently.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of that analogy. It's a little different than that because you wouldn't be allowed to twist on top of that solid rear axle either. You'd be fixed and only have a single motion up and down. The body wouldn't be able to roll around on that axle. So what the sway bar is negating.
Yeah, I guess you're right because of the way the springs mount to the body.
It's a tough one to visualize, but you'd have a solid link that just slots up and down basically.
Regardless, the suspensions would not move independently from each other. They would be rigidly tied together, and to Nate's point, it would basically eliminate any suspension. So what happens when you stiffen up the sway bar is when your right tire hits a bump, it will transfer some of that force to the left tire because the sway bar has rigidity. And so when the right side bar twists, it's going to act on the left side as well. Practically speaking, we designed the sway bar to ensure that effect is minimal or non-existent so that you would never feel it. That would certainly be negative if you're driving down the road and you hit a bump on this side and your car's like doing this. Our sway bars don't do that. So I'm just being open and transparent that a sway bar that's too stiff does have detriments, but we precisely design, engineer, and tune our sway bars to give you the best driving experience without any of the negatives. So sway bars are truly kind of a no compromise mod where it will make your car handle better. It'll make your car more fun to drive. It will not make your car stiffer.
You're really not going to notice it in that casual,
you won't notice it,
cruising driving.
Yep. So it's a great mod. You should definitely do it. I guarantee you'll like it. And this is why we've started focusing so much on sway bars in the last 7-8 years, is because it's a great mod. It can go on every car. We've leased cars and turned them back to the dealership with our sway bars on. And the cars get inspected, and they don't even say anything.
Yeah.
And I'm sure whoever ends up with that car is
like, sweet.
Like, man, this S3 handles way better than the other ones actually.
We had a customer telling us this weekend he traded his GTI to an Audi dealership, and LA bought an S4, and the dealership left our rear sway bar and
Nice.
called it a driver experience package and raised the MSRP by
There you go.
What's the name of this deal?
get the details.
Get sales on these, man. We need to sign them up. That's a smart dealer.
Right.
Wow. No, seriously, that's really cool. That's good to hear.